I remember we did the bus trip to Lagos to play Felabration.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I could not believe you sang that song at the Shrine.
Oh my God.
In front of Nigeria. And they loved it.
They loved it. And you were brave, right?
That was crazy,
when
man.
that song came out, we released it as a tease to Nigerians because we were about to play them in the African Cup, if not the World Cup. There was going to be a match in London or something between Ghana and Nigeria. Mm-hmm. So we released that song as like a taunt, right? And when you listen to the lyrics, even when you look at the title, you know something is up. Because it's grammatically wrong.
Thank God we're not Nigerians. Okay, welcome back to another episode of Afro Soul Stories. This afternoon, I'm joined by a very good friend of mine. His name is Wanlov the Kubolor. He is a rapper. He is a producer. He is a true artist, a director, and also a human rights activist. Hey, my friend, how are you?
Mr. Sewor Okudzeto.
Hey, Charlie.
It's good to finally be here.
I know. We've been trying to do this for a while.
Yeah. I'm honored and I'm happy.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yeah. I was very lucky to be able to see you at Jazz Cafe recently.
Yes.
With Lamisi. Yeah. And I know this is some of your production work.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to talk about your whole career today.
Oh, Charlie.
You know, from your solo career and then obviously the stuff with FOKN Bois. We can say FOKN Bois. We can say that.
That's good.
The work with your sister. And also your directing as well. I really want to talk about that. Yeah. But I also know in recent years you've been producing.
Yes.
And Stevo Atambire.
Yes.
And now Lamisi. And you're on tour with Lamisi.
Yes.
Talk to me about how that all came together.
Man. I mean, if we're going to talk about the production stuff, I think it's over time. I mean, I didn't used to do much production. Or I was doing production and I was never finishing my work. I was leaving stuff half done on Fruity Loops here and there. But I was observing people like, Panji, Ambule,
of course,
Mensa,
yourself
doing production work. So just, hanging out with producers, working with producers, I was also learning from them, mixing, mastering, production, instruments, the way to record, the way to mic things. And then during lockdown, I was doing a lot of YouTubing, watching people, because I think during lockdown, Bruce Sweden, who was engineering Michael Jackson stuff, also passed. So his videos, and he was trending a bit. So I started watching his stuff as well. And so then I started getting more brave, and doing things, starting to, produce stuff electronically, also acoustically, recording live instruments. So I think I've just been picking up things over time.
This is the way.
But in the past few years, especially since COVID, I've been doing more production.
Yeah, very cool, I think COVID was a good time for creative people.
Yeah.
Because it gave people an opportunity to really kind of get into something.
Yeah, delve, right?
Yeah. Now, I know that you've done a lot of work with Stevo Atambire.
Yes.
What was the name of that album that he had? It was the...
When Stevo's album came out, it was called Teach Me, and it came out on Aquaba Records.
Okay.
But 2 or 3 years later, it was taken off Aquaba Records because Strat was interested in releasing it. So then, but we changed it from Stevo Atambire to Alostmen. So it became like a band release.
Yeah.
And that album, I started producing. That's way before COVID, though. Stevo and I have been working since 2008, if not 7. Like, we've been playing together, hanging out. Make it up for you. They want to rule you. If they not be for me, if they try me, they go feel me. Then they see we like toys. Then they talk to we like we be small boys. They think I wanna joy.
then we go destroy. Oh, revolution.
And so at some point every other time we meet, he would ask me to record a song for him, and I'll be adding to production to the co-logo he would play or the lyrics he would sing. So over a few years we were able to put this album together.
Very cool. Yeah.
And and so that also led me to do work with Lamisi, who you recently saw at Jazz Cafe. She came to me just a bit after the lockdown and said she wanted to do a new project. And I had a concept for acoustic production, acoustic African instruments, but with synthesized vocals.
Yeah, we talked about this, yeah.
And along the line of doing this, someone was asking, but if it's supposed to be like authentic African, why using like synthesizing the vocals or vocoding and stuff? I was like, no, but if you go to the village and you listen to the music being produced and played there, most of the vocals have auto-tune or something on it. So it's actually currently an indigenous sound, but of course in a different approach. And it also got picked up by a UK label, just as the Alostmen got picked up by Struts. Lamisi's album is on Real World, which is Peter Gabriel's label. So
very cool.
I'm having a lot of fun using like our indigenous instruments to produce stuff with a kind of hip hop and dance music approach.
Yeah.
And now because of I've learned how to EQ things and understand like the sound spaces. I know where to put the gourmet in the mix, where to put the calabash, where to put the shakers, where to put the vocals, so fill up the sound kind of how, and with very few instruments.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the performance the other day, and one of the things I loved how you used the calabash to get that 4 on the floor, and it was really, really cool. Yeah. So on the album with Lamisi that you've done, I noticed it's lots of traditional instruments. Yeah, very cool.
Used I done it on Alostmen where I used the goje, which is like the West African fiddle.
Yeah.
It's just a 1-string horsetail fiddle, and I used it as a bass instrument. So I pitch it 1 octave down and use it as a bass instrument for the track. So it has this kind of ethereal, gritty, haunting sound, in the bass, and it's like it feels almost synthesized, but it's just
it's very cool. Did you add some effects to it? You had a little bit of delay going on, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's different effects, like the way I make it wet and so on. But what happens is when you pitch like something like this string instrument down, this goje, there's some artifacts that it creates. So there's like, it's almost like it's coated in digital debris. So it feels gritty. The sound feels like a bit electronic, but it's acoustic, traditional instruments making the sound. So it gives it a lot of like meat.
But this is really cool because I think, the use of traditional instruments now with digital recording has brought about a whole new thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as you say, the people are using auto-tune in the village now. You know what I mean? And it's an interesting sound. It makes me think of, do you ever see this Congolese group, Konono Number 1? They played the kalimba.
Yes,
but
I remember.
They electrified it.
I mean, my mind went first to Staff Bender Bilili, but I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And they made like homemade pickups.
They create their own drum kits and everything. Yeah, really.
And it was this punk rock. It was this heavy sound.
I've seen them touring. They've been touring heavy.
Yeah. Very cool.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like the things that are around you, or from your environment, from your community, they contain a certain resonance, that are very familiar. Just things hitting things around you. Those sounds are quite familiar and quite different to other parts of the world. So if you're able to capture these sounds and arrange them, in palatable ways, it gives a different texture to,
And it's original.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. Very cool. Let's talk about your work, man. You've had a very, very big, long career as an artist, let's say. Now, your solo work, the work with FOKN Bois. Let's start with your solo work. So, looking back on the discography that I could find, I think the earliest thing that I could find was maybe Human Being.
If my brother they struggle for Kenya, I be Kenyan, no. If my sister they struggle for Nigeria, I be Nigerian, no. If my brother they struggle for Somalia, I be Somalian, no. If my sister they struggle for Romania, I be Romanian, no. Oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh. Just like you. Yes, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh, I be human being, oh. Just like you. Just like you.
Yeah, Human Being, and that is off the Green Card album. So Green Card is an album that was put together like from 2005 and released in like November 2007.
Yep.
And it had production by people like Seven Xavier, Georgiate, Nase Menu, Kwekwananse, Mensa.
Yeah, of course.
Because Mensa produced Kokonsan, one of the lead singles on there. Nase produced Smallest Time, which was one of the lead singles on there. And this album was put together my last 2 years living in the States.
Yeah.
And so it has stories of... Then that's why I even call it Green Card, because my family was expecting me in America to apply for a green card. But in those days, it took like 2 years and you couldn't leave the country for that amount of time. And I'd already spent 7 years mostly in limbo over there. So I just decided I'd leave the country and call my album Green Card. So if you say, where's your green card? I'll just show you the album. But that's... And the way my mind works made me to now name almost all my albums are also just cards, different colored cards.
Yeah. This whole series now. So it sparked off creative identity in a certain way.
Yeah. And I mean, if we go a bit into that side, it's like for me, like I'm one of those kids that growing up, like when I'm walking, I'm looking at the tiles and how I'm stepping in them.
I used to do that shit.
Yeah. And so that's how, like, I'm gonna call my first album Green Card, and I'm like, oh, there's also red cards, there's also black cards. So let me just start calling my album different cards, you know, depending on the vibe and the theme and stuff. Yeah.
So as we go through chronologically, I've got this down as now Yellow Card, Stomach Direction next.
Yeah. So Yellow Card was a commentary on Ghanaian politics. And at that time, Ghana was in the World Cup.
Yeah.
And so we were actually showing a yellow card. During that time, the government was using the soccer to cover up a lot of their shortcomings, as they do with other things. And Yellow Card was a socio-political commentary on the state of affairs in the country, as well as soccer, how we saw. And he used a lot of soccer idioms and references. And so... That was Yellow Card, Stomach Direction.
Stomach Direction.
Yeah.
Where did Stomach Direction come from?
When we're young, you're playing football, right? Soccer or football. The round one. Or the first one. And when you're playing it, and the goal is in front of you, and you're about to kick the ball, and everybody's expecting that the ball will go straight towards the goal, and it goes in a different direction. We used to say that the ball is going where your stomach is pointing. It doesn't... go where the goal is. Like, wherever your stomach points, that's where the goal is.
A wild shot.
Yeah, but it's also a double entendre to also say that you don't follow your conscience or justice. You follow your stomach. So you sell out.
Right.
You sell out. You have stomach direction. You are just following your stomach.
Right. Instant gratification.
Yeah.
You see, this is what I love about your work, because there's so much social commentary and political commentary. And I know that in Ghana, some would say that you are an outspoken artist, which I think is an amazing thing. And it seems to really have informed your work over many, many years, you know. We'll talk about the recent album, Trumu, in a second. I kind of want to do the chronological. As I go through this list, then we go to Brown Card, African Gypsy album.
Yes.
That's
Brown
when
Card.
we first met.
That's true, right?
Yeah.
That's true. That's when we started hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brown Card. Now, I don't think it's online now. It is online on my Bandcamp, wanlov.com.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, I produced an album for two Roma woman rappers, Kali and Nico G from Bucharest. And around that time, they are Roma people, and they are who we've been using the G word on. And in Europe, actually, it's illegal now to use the word. The G word. You can get fined up to 15,000 euros or something.
Wow.
And they were teaching me, like, if I'm not really a Roma person, it's appropriation to call myself the African G word, right? So that's an album that I have to look at how I represent it. Even the artwork, I have to kind of
redo it.
Yeah, re-upload it, but kind of censor the word and go into the song and release it in an appropriate way, you know.
Wow. Now, just for the audience's context, you are half Ghanaian, half Romanian.
Yeah, half Romanian.
Yeah, so this is part of your heritage, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, my mother is not Roma.
Right, okay.
So she's not a Roma person, which
Right.
are the traveling people across there, traveling people. And my mother is not from that ethnic group.
Right.
So I can't call myself that. But at the time, I didn't know.
You didn't know, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm having to update my catalog in a way to show my evolution.
Yeah.
Just like FOKN Bois have a song called Thank You in Coz Ov Moni 1, where we are thanking all the ancestors for the work they did for us, you know, for so far as human rights and so on. And two people we had thanked in the film were Gandhi and Mother Teresa.
Of course, and Gandhi.
So recently, when we're re-uploading the film to YouTube, in the subtitles, where we say Mahatma Gandhi with a thank you, we put some parentheses and we wrote in there we didn't know at the time, you know. So we're finding ways to correct our I mean, we're not trying to delete what we've done, but we're just like with the African G word album, I'm just gonna like cancel it out and write something else. You know, that's what I'm thinking for the artwork. And and so that was the album, Brown Card. We called it Brown Card because the brown card is a card you need in West Africa to be able to drive around across the borders. You can't drive into Togo or other country out of Ghana without a brown card. So because the album was about traveling people, and I did that album as a result of a residency I won to
Cité des Arts.
Cité des Arts International in Pont-Marie in Paris. And I stayed there 3 months working on this album. The concept was to mix Eastern European music, folkloric and Roma music with West African traditional or modern pop music.
And you did so successfully. I mean, it's
It's
a great album.
Thank you.
It's super interesting, man.
Thank you. It's so funny that there's a song on there with a very successful artist from Romania. It's called, the title is Romania. And the sample I have in there's a voice saying Romania, Romania throughout the chorus, right? That is the voice, is a sample of Iron Boy Amachi Dede.
Really?
He has a high life song in which he's saying, "Na madam phobia oti Romania." He was singing a song talking about a friend that lived in Romania, and I heard that section. And I looped that for the chorus.
Wow.
So there's so many like
little connections.
Things going on that album. It's I like leaving a lot of, you know, gems inside things, you know, sprinkling.
No, man. Honestly, when I listen back to everything, I mean, hey, I'm always in awe, you know, lyrically, and, you know, you've got a lot going on, man. You really, really do.
Oh, Charlie, so well, thanks.
Yeah, serious, man. And your output has been amazing, you know. And, you know, I struggle with even my small lyrics, you know. And, you know, you've got so much happening.
I mean, once you said that, me too, I can offer some small... I think however amount of, like, if this is how many lyrics you've got for this song, just put just that on it and leave the rest to just breathe. Because, you know, instrumental albums are doing very well online.
It's true, yeah. It's
very well.
Yeah.
To where it's like I'm even considering releasing instrumental albums now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all playlists and all that kind of sort of stuff going on. Yeah. Now, okay, let's keep on going through this.
The catalogue.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do the catalogue, then we'll come back to some interesting things.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you know an album that I hadn't heard was the Orange Card album?
Really?
I hadn't heard that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting, eh?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah. So Orange Card.
I've got the Fruitopian.
Yeah, Fruitopian raps.
Yeah.
It's just me back to like the rap, because people were saying like I was singing too much and stuff. And me, I like rap and I still write raps.
Yeah.
And so Fruitopian raps was me rapping about fruits. But the whole theme of the album from beginning to end, you hear these conversations going on, these skits. And all these skits for an album I think was 15 years ago, or 10, 15 years ago, they're about galamsey, which is illegal mining.
Gold mining.
Which now has destroyed 70% of the water in Ghana.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so this is commentary I was making way back then about, because there's cocoa farmers talking about how they are cutting down, they're not getting enough money from the government for their cocoa, can't sustain their life, paying their children's school fees, hospital bills, and paying the people working on their farms. And so they are beginning to sell their farms to these illegal miners.
Wow,
You know, and so Fruitopian raps are kind of centered on that. I also talked about my love for fruits and veggies and everything.
Did this get sparked off because of the foodies?
Yes. I think it had...
At the same time?
Yeah, it was around the same time. So it made it onto the album as well.
Yeah, that's so funny. For the context of the audience, we worked on a kids' TV show called Foodies. And Jareth Mers, the producer, asked myself and yourself and Mensa and Sena Dagadu to be involved, and we created a soundtrack for a kids' TV show. Yeah.
Really nice, eh? I think it never got released, right?
We did 3 episodes.
3 episodes, really dope.
Yeah, it was very
really
cool.
Dope.
Teaching kids about food and nutrition.
Yeah.
You know? And that's very cool. It's nice how the creativity that sparked off this.
Yeah. Just, bet the whole thing. And the albums, too, most of the time I do albums, they are around 15 to 20 songs on there. It's recently that I've started reducing the numbers. But the ones where I've reduced the numbers, they're going to become double albums. Because I have the unreleased tracks, you know?
Yeah. No, man, this is amazing.
Orange Card,
and that's the one I didn't know. And then we go to Red Card.
And you know, Orange Card, the artwork was done by Bright Akwe.
Hey, cool.
I think that was the first artwork he had done for me.
Very cool.
Bright Akwe, who is one of the biggest social commentators in Ghana.
Yeah, I don't know him, you know.
Yeah, Bright Akwe.
I've been back here now for 4 years now. So.
Oh, okay, no, he's really excellent. He's been in the news for, like, getting the attention of the Chinese ambassador to Ghana and so on with his art.
Yeah.
Because he did a commentary on hair financing or supporting the illegal mining going on. Yeah.
Wow.
During Akufo-Addo's time. So he's out there. He's done some of my hardcore. If you've seen the artwork for Red Card, the Minstrel cycle.
Yes.
He did the artwork for that as well.
Very cool.
You can see the heads of states.
Yeah.
Or the state of the heads of states. The heads rolling around there.
We they talk, say we not like the situation. We they tweet about the lack of common education. We they blame politicians for our nation. We they point one of fingers at the people hoping Jesus will save us from all our evil. But be like Jesus, he gets some job from some other side.
We are the ones we have been waiting for. So what are we waiting for? We are the ones we have been waiting for.
mission be save olive, not the spinach. Greenwich, meantime African sources they diminish. Squeamish, be how you they feel when you for the scrimmage. Image, be what you care for, so you sell your village. They pillage, destroy, corrupt, and even leave a spillage. They damage everything and tell us that we should manage the carnage. We wash the blood and wipe the wood with varnish. We're tarnished, pretend we don't see evil till we vanish.
Yeah, now let's talk a little bit about politics and politics in Ghana, because as an artist, you have been someone who's not been afraid to say your thoughts, and I think as an artist, you have been an important voice. You know, as a human rights person as well. I know in recent times in Ghana, we've had a lot of conversations with the LGBT community. I know you've been very outspoken and very supportive of that community. Yeah, how does that? I mean, obviously, it's come about because you are a person of community and non-fiction. Yeah. So, how's that affected everything in Ghana?
Man, it's it's sad because it's used just like in other. Most of these political configurations are the same around the world. Like the state is designed in such a way that they always have like floodgates they can open to let out some social pressure.
Yeah.
So anytime there's something going on, people are angry about the pollution of the rivers, the poisoning. People are angry about the corruption. They're like, oh, we're going to put queer people in prison.
Yeah. Scream about that.
Yeah.
For a while. Yeah.
And we don't know that it's like hate or wickedness is something that develops an appetite, or it's something you develop an appetite for after you've tasted it, or if you maybe self-destruction makes you want to drown yourself in it. So it's like after you take away the queer people's rights, then you're going to take away women's rights. Married people cannot abort, and this kind of rules that they're trying to bring. And what's going on in Ghana, I can speak for Ghana, is that we are colonially homophobic. It's a new thing. It's not, we weren't like that before we were colonized, because if we were against queer existence, we would have had our own written or unspoken laws against it. But such things do not exist. It's the British that came to write these penal codes that we are holding on to today, So we are in Ghana and we are fighting each other about people holding hands in public, because nobody's having sex in public and stuff, but just people showing affection in public, because Ghana is kind of conservative.
It's very conservative, yeah.
It's kind of conservative. Heterosexual partners do not even hold hands in public.
It's true,
They walk together like soldiers.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? And so queer people just putting hand on each other's shoulder, holding hands, which is something even non-queer people were doing up till now.
Men walk holding each other's hands in Ghana. Yeah. If you have a serious conversation with someone,
but now that is being affected now.
So even a traditional thing like yes, I remember in Ghana, if you're having a serious conversation with a senior gentleman, you'll take each other's hand and you walk down the street.
Yeah. And now even that is like, hey, are you part of the LGBTQ community, And so I feel like there's a sense of jealousy from the heterosexual males and, of course, the CIS women, to see people feeling free and expressing their sensuality or their their affection, not sexual like affection, but just being touchy, free, happy, And so that is a driver. And then there's also predatorial men who are squeezing the work of the bodies of their fellow employees. They are sexually assaulting people in certain spaces, and they feel like queer freedom means like now queer people are gonna start assaulting them sexually.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that also, that kind of fear of
projection.
Projection. A lot of projection going on. Yeah. And so now, and of course, the whole world is divided into farms. These what we call countries are just huge farms, right? So these groups, right-wing, racist, Islamophobic,
you choose your camp.
Groups in like Texas, these churches, even in Holland, there's a church movement there which are involved in drafting these anti-LGBT laws, right? Which they've promoted in Uganda, Nigeria,
They are promote Poland. They are trying to promote in Romania, Hungary. You know, it's a body of these people, and they are mostly Europeans, right? And they have sponsored and supported these ministers in our government to fight to pass this bill, which a few days ago was passed. You know, now the Speaker of Parliament is saying it was some procedures were overlooked and rushed, so he wants them to retract it and look at it again, because if these procedures have truly been overlooked and bypassed, the president is not going to sign it. You know, and the president also has said it can't violate certain rights and so on. So that's the only hope we have now, is that the president is going to apply humanity and, you know, and also be afraid for the economic retaliation from the rest of the world. Also, you know, recently President Mahama was going to some college in the States to receive a certain award. And when news of this bill got sent to this institution, they canceled the event.
Really?
So hopefully he will see the kind of ostracization that will happen from certain parts of the world where these queer rights are granted to every citizen, you know? So we are hoping for that. But in the meantime, the queer community is already under attack. One artist I produced, Angel Maxine, who had to exile to Berlin.
Really?
She, her mom recently got attacked in Ghana, you know, because people are like, hey, the bill has been passed. So
now it's open.
You and your daughter, you see what will happen to you. And then she talks back a bit or stands her ground. Somebody scratched her face, you know. So there's already
the negative.
There's
backlash.
already people like the wicked people and the people who want to take advantage of this bill are already testing the grounds to see what they can get away with.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's very similar to sort of, I guess, Trump's America. The floodgates have opened now, and the sort of bad opinions are now okay to say.
Yes.
You know, yeah. It's interesting. You just said something that made me think of one of the tracks off the Blue Card album of Trumu Love, Sweet Jealousy, the track. So is that what that's kind of alluding to?
No, Sweet Jealousy is just about a point in my life where I was feeling like quite a strong jealousy in a relationship.
Okay.
It's something that I think it was around 2005 that I decided to not live like the life that I felt was laid out, like a monogamous kind of existence, you know? And just 1 year or 2 years into that lifestyle, there was a point I was in a relationship with a woman, and she would sometimes go out to club with her friends or, you know, and I would feel some jealousy, you know? And I wrote the song about that, you know? I was still learning how to be less jealous.
Okay, so it's a personal one.
Yeah, it's quite personal.
Yeah. So
but Trumu Love, like the album, is actually an album that I'd started writing in 2007.
Okay.
And when I'd moved to Ghana then, and felt like the way things were going in Ghana, I needed to make political commentary rather than just writing some personal relationship kind of songs. So recently, when Trumu Love was released, it was actually in response to Ghanaian social media and commentators saying, Kubolor, Galamsey is going on. Why aren't you saying something about it? I have Orange Card 10, 15 years ago. It's all about Galamsey. So now I'm going to talk about Trumu. Because Trumu is a word used to denigrate the queer community, you know, and it's also a censored word at the same time. They won't let me say the word on the radio.
On Ghanaian radio.
But when they're talking against the queer community, they'll allow someone to say the word. You see what I'm saying? So me calling an album that and singing about Trumu is something that I feel will saturate, you know, the space and make the word less mystical or derogatory, or it's like Trumu Love.
Yeah, it's like taking it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about. We've kind of gone off chronology, which is fine, which is cool because we've gone to the recent projects. So this album, Trumu Love, the tracks that I noted, Sweet Jealousy, and then the opening track, which is Trumu. Yeah. So let's talk exactly what that's about, because again, it's about supporting LGBT community.
Yeah, so the first track, Trumu, is more of a personal track because it's like me some years back discovering or being a bit like zoned in on anal sex. There was a time where I was like, my mind would be going more to anal sex than, and so, but at the same time, it's also about consent.
Yeah.
And if you watch the music video, it's also about ageism. And but it's mostly about consent because I'm asking, there's this fear in the male CIS atmosphere in Ghana that queer people, if they have their rights to say they are queer and approach people, like
they're going to be trying to which is
they mix just queer existence with forced because that's how forced sex, because they do not forced sex, it's the R word, right? We want to trigger people, but that's what is conflated with, right? Because we haven't seen in recent centuries same-sex people really like
just getting on
just
with
living.
just A to B.
You know, we're seeing so much heterosexual stuff happening in movies and so on. And we haven't seen that. So the only thing we can associate with same-sex is maybe childhood abuse,
right?
Which is pedophilia, which is a whole different thing, right? So the lyrics saying "make up for your Trumu" is asking permission from your partner to engage in anal sex, and then halfway through the song, the person responds and says, "Yes, you may."
go that way.
You may approach the docking bay, right? Star Trek, Star Wars.
Prepare for docking.
Yeah, prepare for docking. Beam me up, Scotty. Anyway, so look how we're laughing about sex. We are still children. Yeah, but so it's really demystifying, desensitizing, and for me also being cheeky and really just putting it in their face, you know. And so that's what I tried to accomplish with the album. I just tried to be explicit to a point of absurdity. So that people just stop. They get tired of it. And like, okay, we understand. We'll just leave you.
Yeah, demystifies the whole thing. Yeah.
So that's how, and it's cathartic for me as well.
Yeah. And as we say, I mean, we're filming today in London, but I know we'll have an audience internationally, and obviously we'll have an audience in Ghana. And Ghana is a very conservative country. It really, really is.
Yeah, but it is hypocritically conservative.
Yes, it's true.
Because Ghana has the highest porn searches.
Yes.
Gay porn.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Highest. Oh, I didn't know this.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on underground.
Underground.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And when Ghanaian conservatives go into certain countries in Europe and the rest,
all of a sudden,
they really go and wild out. You know?
Do you know there's a funny statistic? When in America, when the Republican National Congress, the RNC rallies happen, the app Grindr, allegedly it goes like crazy. Yeah. And all these conservative, evangelical Christian guys in Texas and stuff like that, and they come to town.
Masking tape.
Yeah.
Masking tape. All the performance is masking.
And,
Yeah.
It's funny, man. It's funny. So looking back, I mean, that's obviously the most recent album. And looking back again, I haven't heard the White Card album, the Artivist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You see, I went through some years of doing some things, and I had to, I had my good years and my down years, and then I came back to London.
Yeah. Nah, but you've done well. Congrats.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Big up. I'm proud, Charlie. Big up. Yeah. White Card, the Artivist. It's an album I think I started putting together after lockdown, and it was just that, like, the word artivist is, creative word, joining artist with activism.
Like edutainment.
There you go.
Educative entertainment.
You know?
Yeah, so Artivist was just, and White Card is like carte blanche, you know, your freedom
Yeah.
to just
Do
do,
what you want.
whatever. So, yeah, there's commentary in there about, you know, it's just social dynamics, you know, how the society, I think it should be. I talk about pollution in the ocean, plastic pollution. It's filled with different. I speak about Atiwa Forest in the eastern region, which is one of the largest West African forests, which is currently being mined even more aggressively than when I was speaking about it.
Yeah. The natural.
Yeah, and at the time, that forest and that area is where the president of the country at the time was from. And that was the place being ravaged the most.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, and people don't really know how to identify. You see, because in this part of the world, you can't cut a branch of a tree without permission from
Yeah.
the council or something,
Yeah.
right? Whereas in Ghana,
You just go
Ghana
to-
is a place where when you are driving through town, all the big trees around Accra have a huge white signboard with a drawing, a painting, like a Ghana movie poster painting of a chainsaw with a phone number under, which says we cut trees. So in case this tree you are looking at,
It's going into your fence or something.
you want
Yeah.
it cut, call this number, we'll come and cut it. So the trees are wearing their death like advertisements on themselves in Accra. Like all trees are in danger.
Yeah.
You know, and this comes from, again, colonialism coming, clearing the land, afraid of the
Industrialization.
animals,
Yeah.
clearing the land to dig down and extract. And even our fear of snakes, I'm saying, is this, we learned it from people who were either, I feel like mostly from Christianity, from the snake in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
So I think Europeans were coming to Ghana and seeing snakes around and freaking out.
Yeah.
And so now we don't like bushes around our house. Snake will come, snake will come. Snakes always run away from you. You know, they don't come to you.
Do you know what I learned? If you have geese.
They'll turn into snakes.
No, the snakes don't like the geese.
Oh, really?
The geese chase off the snakes.
That's interesting
Yeah.
because when we were kids,
You had
my
geese.
dad had
Geese.
ducks and geese.
And that's what...
And they said that if you disturb the duck or the geese, one of them, their neck, because of the way their neck is, they'll turn into a snake. So we thought ducks or geese can turn into snakes.
Yeah, no, they keep them away.
Yeah.
know.
So I mean, I don't know exactly what I was talking about, but the energy I'm remembering is that this ravaging or this pillaging of the land and hating of trees and stuff
Yeah.
is really learned. It's a recent thing we've learned, you know.
Yeah, it's like industrialization in order to extract.
Yeah, we are an extraction site.
Yeah.
You know, so houses are not built with human life or society in consideration. Houses are built along the routes of extraction. You know,
And then concrete.
yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of concrete. So you see, Accra is really flooding now
Yeah.
because
the plastic.
everybody is. It's not. I mean, the plastic is a part of it, but a very small part. I think. I mean, it's not. Some of the research has been done is that every house, by responsibility and by law, building law, has a responsibility to leave at least 30-something% of their compound uncovered. So like either it's grass or it's soil
For drainage.
to absorb some
heavy-
rainwater.
heavy rains,
But
yeah.
everybody, because of the hate of grass and plants, just covers their whole compound in concrete. So all the water is running into the streets. The street fills up quickly and it climbs back into the houses, you know?
And it's that desire. People thinking that concrete makes them Western. Yeah.
And then because there's concrete everywhere and there's no trees, they have cut all the trees, and it's so hot, so they buy air condition, and the cost of living is super high.
And it's just this cycle.
It's a cycle.
Whereas if you had a house with
Trees,
grass, wood,
and non-colonial designs or older designs where the colonials were incorporating the local, you know, like
Style.
arrangement architecture.
yeah.
So harnessing the environment, you know.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
So yeah, White Card talks about, you know, all these different things. Atiwa Forest is a song on there, I think featuring my sister Deborah, and Akosia Hansen on another one. So my sister on that one. And it's produced by Stephen Coulter.
Oh, the guitarist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it Coulter Harper?
Harper, yeah.
I remember I met him when he came to Ghana.
Yeah.
Now, he's an American guitarist.
Yeah. So
he came and studied in Ghana for a while.
Yeah, so he came back at a point to digitize Professor John Collins's
work. Yeah, he studied like on
4-track tape recordings of hundreds of bands that were never even released.
Yeah, we have to make sure that's archived. Yeah.
So he was pressing play on this equipment at Legon, on these tapes, and recording them to multi-track in the studio. And as they're being playing for the last time, they are disintegrating, because the tapes are all like
degraded.
Really fragile.
Wow.
But he managed to capture most of those recordings.
Oh, fantastic.
So he put together sounds from one of the band's recordings.
Very cool.
Sample certain sounds to produce that.
Yeah.
So when you listen to it, you see that the textures are quite different.
See, these things are so important. My sister was actually telling me that Ghana had a really big film industry in the 60s and 70s, even 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yes.
And a lot of the films were destroyed.
Yes, a lot. But recently, so remember there's the Malaysians, when the Malaysians bought Ghana Broadcasting Corporation.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
They banned a lot of the films.
This is what I heard.
But recently, there's the filmmaker who had made most of those tapes. Came to the UK somewhere and he had a storage of everything.
Oh, fantastic.
So they've started digitizing to release. So recently something is making the rounds, a short film, 15 minutes or so, I think, from his archive.
Very cool.
And they're raising funds to digitize everything else.
Yeah, so important because I think that
and his story it's films about like when he was following Nkrumah around and going to conferences and around the country and the world. So a lot of nice footage.
I was talking to someone recently about the photographer. Is it James Barnell?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Lekon Babalola.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking about all the photographs. And what I love about those photographs is, Ghana in, I guess, the 60s, 50s, 60s, people were fly, They had a real style about them.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, it was
really
very
fresh.
cool. And it was,
really fresh presence, eh?
Yeah, it was this sort of combination of very Africa, but also some blaxploitation going on,
Right? Felt shafty.
Yeah. Big afros, big flares,
Yeah, really nice.
I have a great picture of my father in like a safari suit.
Wow.
When he had hair.
Wow. That's so dope. Yeah, but you brought up your sister Sena. Like.
So you were in Switzerland last year for Art
Basel. And
how was that?
Man, so it was beyond what I expected. The city, Basel, I'd been there once briefly, but this time really like in there, like soaked it in. And what did I enjoy? Sena put together some really exceptional jazz musicians.
Yeah, Victor
being directed by Victor Dave from Ghana. And Victor is somebody that I've been observing over time.
He's an amazing,
an
amazing pianist for our audience.
I got a bit. I was able to be in the same space with him when Pilani Bubu from South Africa came to work with him.
Very cool.
And they came to do a recording in my space at some point. And then we were bumping into each other, and we're always like, Charlie, we should do something together. So when Sena put together, the drummer was, I think, from South Africa, or from India, horns person from South Africa, a double bassist from Japan. It was like people from all over, and really like excellent in their space, in their places, And I did a short set solo with my guitar and flutes and stuff, and then I joined them at some point for one or two songs during their set. And I really appreciated Victor to a next level that day, like, cause I got time to really like
he's an amazing
watch
pianist.
him. I really got time to really listen and watch him that day, and it was such a nice vibe, And now we're sure we're gonna do some work. We're just
figuring it out. Now that brings me to your international travels, because you are a Ghanaian artist, Ghanaian-Romanian artist. But you have been one of the most successful international artists in Ghana in many recent years. And I know that you are currently with Lamisi, you're touring Europe essentially. And you have been around everywhere. Yeah. So how does it feel to represent Ghana when you go internationally?
Charlie, it's
Or do you feel as if you're representing Ghana? So let's reframe it.
I feel like more like I'm representing
Yourself,
like,
your artistry.
Yeah, I mean that it's a given, but I feel like it's more like I'm representing like some part of Ghana, you know? Like I'm an Accra boy, even though my father is from Kumasi. I grew up in Accra. So I feel like I'm carrying the Accra energy, you know, and then because working with Stevo and going up north and working with Pidgin music, because the reason I moved from the States back to, I was in the States for 7 years, 2000, 2007, but I moved back also because I didn't want the green card, the other one, but also mainly because I'd heard I Want to See You, My Father, and seen the video.
Of course,
by Kinai Soba.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever label put this out, or
of
whatever team is behind it, I want to work with them because it was so far out, like, you know.
And of course,
and so then, and so I landed in the Pidgin music space and Kwikwananse and King Lou, and that's where everything kind of started bubbling when I got to Accra.
Yeah. It's funny, yeah. So, I mean, for the audience, Mr. Pangiano, founder of Pidgin Music, someone that we have all worked with very, very closely. Ovaja. Someone we have all worked with very, very closely. Yeah, man. That's, you know, I mean, King Lou is an amazing director. Yeah. And now I want to talk about you as a director. Because we all know you as a rapper and as an artist. But I know that you as a very, very, very good director. You know?
Yeah. I'm one of the best in the universe.
No, I've always loved your videos, man. And I think a lot of people may not know that you conceptualize all of your own videos.
Yeah, most of them. If not all, most of them. I have this link on YouTube. It's Kubolor Sini playlist. It's a playlist of Kubolor Sini videos, and there's over 100 videos there that I've directed. But I think around maybe 1 or 2 years into making music, I started making videos for my music at the same time, because I really like cinema, I really like films, and I started, and because I like arrangements of shapes and so on, I kind of understood framing and stuff without learning about it. Like I move the camera till something clicks in my mind, you know.
I think you have a natural visual perspective framework. I think, my favorite video of yours that you've done, and I'm so glad that I got to ask you exactly, was the extra large video.
Oh, okay.
Sena Dagadu featuring Mensa.
Yeah.
And I remember when you were filming. In fact, there's the other one. What was the one with the tree as well?
With the tree?
Do you remember the one?
Sena
the
with
other
the
one.
squirrel.
Yeah. That was the other one as well. But
wow, Veverita.
Yeah, Veverita. Yeah.
Oh man, that was one of the hardest videos to produce.
I remember.
So difficult.
I remember.
We had. So the song, I mean, if you remember, the song is about a squirrel. It's a Romanian song my grandma used to sing to me. And we had Achu, the painter artist, and fashion designer. He made 3 backdrops of like morning, day, and night, dusk or something. Pick huge backdrops, and we built a tall table, like really tall table, and we transplanted grass, like 2 inches of soil and grass on the table, and watered it and grew it for like a week. For it to look real, like for it to really grow.
And then
there.
it was like a puppet show.
And we made a hole under, we made a tree.
Yeah.
And we had our hands under these holes with puppets. You know?
Yeah.
And we made the puppets ourselves.
Yeah.
We did everything, like, and we had to shoot, when we had to shoot in the evenings, there were so many mosquitoes. So you're under the table, you are controlling the puppets, and mosquitoes are chewing you everywhere. It was so like, it was like a serious sufferation.
Yeah, but the video looks good.
Yeah, and it was done with Jay Hill.
Yeah, American Jay.
Jay Hill, yeah.
I remember that time. The one I wanted to talk about was the one with Sena, but it's funny, we went on a tangent.
Yeah, okay.
The extra large one with Sena.
Yeah.
I love that video, man.
Oh, it's solid.
And again, I'll try and have the link come up for our audience. What I loved about that, and you have to see it, you have to actually see it, because the perspective that you guys did was amazing. And I know you built some very special furniture for the whole thing.
We built everything.
Yeah,
Mostly everything. There's things like the wine glass and certain things in there that Sena brought from the house. They were like collector's things.
Huge,
somehow already had. Yeah, but very, very nice experience making that video. Yeah, really good fun.
See, now this segues perfectly onto some of your work with FOKN Bois. Now, this is a whole chapter, and I had this whole conversation with Mensa when he appeared.
Okay, so I can drink some of this water,
You
right?
can
It's
drink
not props.
It's not props. It'd be real water. Now, you and Mensa, as the FOKN Bois, the FOKN Bois, have the great, he should be in the Guinness Book of Records for producing the world's first Pidgin musical. Yeah, Coz Ov Moni. Yeah, I remember, again, I think that's around the time that we met, and I was very privileged to be in Ghana around that time. How did that come about, man? Yeah.
How can you solve a problem like Maria? How can you catch a cloud and pin it down?
That's how it started. You know, we grew up, I mean, on musicals and Chitty Bang Bang, the American ones, and cartoons. Come on, cartoons like Return my love, I have been looking to find you. That's Bugs Bunny. Him and I think it was Yosemite Sam or The Martian or something. But yeah, so, and of course, hip hop and Friday. Kid and Play.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So many influences. You know, different influences. And then at the time, I was living in Los Angeles, and I was exposed to an area network called Project Blowed, the Blowdians. And these are a group of rappers, Abstract Rude, AC Alone, Open Mic Eagle, Dumbfounded. These are guys that were really holding down the underground alternative scene in LA. And they had super concepts. They were like super concept oriented, or still are actually. And production wise, topic wise, and even group wise. Like there was two rappers, Psychosis and a guy called Half Man, Half Amazing. Or the EMS, the Ali Malik Shabazz or something. And when they came together, they called themselves Half Man, Half Amazing. And then they added one more person, Dumbfounded, and then they called themselves the Swim Team. And then they added another group, like they added another 10 or 20 people, and they were called Customer Service. And they would just come on stage, like 20 people, rapping on a beat, 8 bars, 8 bars, 8 bars, 8 bars, or 16 bars, no chorus. So there's all these configurations of presentation and concepts, and somebody will write a whole concept about frying an egg, a whole album, you know? And so Mensa and I had met earlier in the Bronx for Ghana independence celebration. And we recorded 2 fair songs together, Sometimes and Thank You. And these 2 songs we recorded, produced by Kwabena Jones, another super excellent Ghanaian producer artist that has an album called Songs I Wrote and Recorded When I Was Thinking the Things I Was Thinking About. Yeah, man. This one word. And it's on iTunes and stuff.
I'm going to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to find
Songs I wrote when I was thinking the things I was thinking, so I recorded it. Yeah, man. And it's one word.
Cool.
It's one word. And the name is Kwabena Jones.
Okay, I'll find it.
Anyway, he produced these 2 songs, and they were quite heavy material. Like Mensa and I, first 2 songs, I'd already done Kokonsa. But these first 2 songs that we were doing together had heavy material.
some time ago, me and Mensa day at disco, you know, rapping about the political things in Ghana, how the country is, how things are going. Then we did Thank You, which is a heavy song thanking the ancestors for fighting for us to have things a bit easier, you know, in our lifetime. So we wrote very politically, very conscious songs. The Mensa comes to visit me when my first child is born in LA, and we think of an album. Like, let's do an album. And we're like, okay, let's do an album where everything happens in one day in Accra.
Day in the life.
A day in the life. Like Friday, like these concepts these guys are doing in LA, but Ghanaian topics, Ghanaian spaces. So we started, what we do in the morning? What do? We bath, we brush our teeth. Then what do? We go and find something to eat. Then what do? We go and collect our money from someone who owes us money. Then we go to the beach. Then we go to the internet cafe. At the time, we had these things called internet cafes. Now, wow, it's wild, eh? Yeah, and we pulled it off. We weren't even really writing the lyrics. We started choosing beats. And I would say something and Mensa would respond. And that's how we're making the film. It was like a conversation that we were recording. And when we were about to finish the project, we were like, this actually feels like it could be a film. So we pitched it to Pidgin Music, Panji and Kinlu, and they were like, if you guys wrap it up and bring it, we'll shoot it. You know, and that's how Coz Ov Moni came about. It's the first Pidgin musical.
Yeah, worldwide.
Worldwide, right? Yeah. And then there's part 2, and hopefully there's part 3, Mensa.
Oh,
hopefully there's part 3.
You're talking about it.
We started a while ago, before COVID.
Cool. You have to do a trilogy,
right?
You know?
So please, when you see Mensa, tell him.
Yeah.
That it should be, because recently he told me that we should not call it Coz Ov Moni 3. We should do another film, but not make it Coz Ov Moni 3. We'll see.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi.
Right? We shall see what we create. Yeah.
Now, I guess that was the beginning and the spark of the FOKN Bois, I guess. I mean, you guys have been playing together. You guys went to school together, didn't you?
We went to school together. What is fun, man? It's so funny. I was in Form 3 when Mensa came to Form 1.
Yeah.
And somebody came to my dorm room. I was a bad boy in school. Like, I was... the teachers were afraid of me. I already had...
suspension.
No, they couldn't suspend me because my father was a good junior to the current, at the time, headmaster of the school. So he would call me, he's like, Owusubonsu, you know I have to sack you for this, what you have just done. But because of your father, I'll give you another chance. I got 5 chances. I was trying to get sacked from the school. I hated the school, right? I wanted to leave, but anytime I did something bad, it wasn't bad enough to break the bond he had with my dad, you know. But I was a very stubborn guy in school, and I've stopped that. Like,
I'm now calm.
I'm calm. But someone came to me. They knew I like rap, and they said, "There's a guy here who raps. He's very good."
Yeah.
So I said, "Bring him to me." Yeah, because that's the power I had. I've tasted power before. Bring him to me. And I summoned him. So he was brought before me. And I said, I heard you can rap. And he said, yeah. I said, rap for me. And he rapped. And I was like, wow, you're very good. From now on, you rap for me. And from then, that was it. Nobody touched Mensa in school. It was like, hey, he raps for Kubolor. He raps for Spooky. My name was Spooky at the time. And we
started to develop.
Yeah, we started we do one or two. We didn't really rap much together. We'd freestyle sometimes, but we didn't work till 10 years later.
Yeah, of course.
We didn't really work till 10 years. At the time, I was doing more rap and performance and recordings with Scooby Fifi Stella Excellency at the time, who's one of the pioneers of hip life. As well. And and that's how we started. That was how our relationship started. But Mensa and I have this. We know we met when we were in Boy Scouts because we have this experience where we met in the mountains in some forest in Sawam. And I remember meeting this awkward guy in the middle of a clearing. We're doing a flag war kind of game. And he also remember meeting this mixed race kid who was like, who's this? Whatever. We have the same memory, you know? So we know we were the ones in that place. But Yeah, and since then, I mean, we got the FOKN Bois name at Cargo in London.
Yeah, where did it come from? Yeah.
So we were opening for Nneka
Right,
at
Nigerian
Cargo.
artist, Nneka,
Yeah. And African Boy was in the crowd. You know the rapper African Boy? Yeah, he has a song called Shoplifting at Lidl.
Okay.
I went shoplifting in Lidl or something. And African Boy was in the crowd and he joined us on stage. Or I think he just joined us on stage and we started, and we just presented it as two FOKN Bois and an African Boy. And by the end of the evening, we were just like, that's the name we should use, FOKN Bois.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, and we've done stuff, a lot of work together, like a couple of albums. And
Yeah, man. I mean, on my list, I have obviously Coz Ov Moni 1 and 2, then Fucking With You.
yes,
Now,
which needs a sequel.
which needs a sequel as well.
Still fucking.
Now, is Thank God We're Not the Nigerians on Fucking With You? Which album is that?
Yes, I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Now,
What is crazy about Thank God We Are Not Nigerians
Yeah.
is that it went to iTunes before we put it there, and we are very sure a Nigerian was selling it. So for like the first 3 months,
You didn't make
the
any
song
money.
came out. A Nigerian was making the money. They just pirated the song and was selling it online before we released it.
Thank God we are not a Nigerians. Kofi is a common name, that's what even I say. But a Ghanaian will never call a child Friday. Thank God we are not a Nigerians. Thank God we are not a Nigerians. Always shouting very loud, don't know how to whisper. And why say Mr. instead of Mr.? Thank God we are not a Nigerians. Thank God we are not a Nigerians.
Now, I remember.
I don't have evidence it was a Nigerian. I just think it would be really funny.
Really funny if it was.
Right,
Yeah.
it was.
I remember we did the bus trip to Lagos to play Celebration.
Yes. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God! I could not believe you sang that song at the shrine.
Oh my God.
in front of Nigeria, and they loved it.
They loved it. And you were
loved it.
brave, right?
That was crazy,
when
man.
that song came out, we released it as a tease to Nigerians because we're about to play them in the African Cup, if not the World
Football,
Cup.
yeah,
There was
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be a match in London or something
Right,
between
right.
Ghana and Nigeria. So we released that song as like a taunt, right? And when you listen to the lyrics, even when you look at the title, you know something is up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because it's grammatically wrong.
Thank God we're not a Nigerians.
Nigerians. But people were taking it serious, thinking that we really don't want. And when you analyze the lyrics, you see that we're actually making fun of how colonized Ghanaians are versus Nigerians, who are more proud of their culture and their food and so on. So it was just a reverse thing we were doing with the lyrics. But Two-Face heard the song, Two-Face Idibia, and invited us to open for him at the O2 here in London.
I love it.
And then we got invited also to Afropolitan Vibes at the band too. But yes, we went to the Shrine.
Yeah.
We even performed our Rich Mix, and we hadn't performed the song yet, and we went like on a break. And some Nigerians came and said, "Hey, you have to perform that song. If you don't perform that song, you see."
Yeah. They love it.
Yeah, they loved it. But the Shrine was nerve-wracking.
That was crazy, man.
Because
5,000
people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
You think it's gonna go one way or the other?
yeah, the drummers and Macho. Remember, Macho Rapper was there.
Yeah.
He was worried.
Yeah.
He was like, "Are you guys really gonna do the song?" And the band members were afraid. They were like, they were ready to run away from the
After
stage.
straight away.
So yeah, but the performance, the people took it well, and I have to give the host credit for that because when we're performing the song, they were looking at us. They couldn't believe what we were singing. 5,000 Nigerians and 2 Ghanaians with the band standing on stage saying, "Thank God we're not a Nigerians. Thank God we're not a Nigerians." And they just looking at each other like, are these guys here in the middle of Lagos Ikeja, the shrine of Fela Kuti, saying they're thanking God they're not Nigerians? Then the MC, right at the end of the performance, he said, he also took the mic and said, "Thank God we are not a Ghanaians." And the whole place erupted. And we started dancing when he was singing that. And I think the band accompanied him a bit. And it was sold.
Cool. Yeah,
Everybody just went, whoa. So when we're walking away to pick a ride in the night.
I remember we came out the side of the stage door, and inside the shrine is 5,000 people. Outside the shrine is 10,000 people.
And we are walking through gangs, different groups of guys. And they would call us, "Hey, you are and there's a huge screen outside.
Big.
So everybody outside had seen the show.
The whole thing.
So we are walking. Some people will call us. Hey, you are the ones who sang the song. Congratulations, man. We enjoy it. Let's take a picture. Man, I don't think anybody has gotten away with such a thing before.
That was beautiful, man.
Yeah,
I feel so privileged that I was there for that.
Yeah, it was an experience, man. Really. And were we there at the same time with Tumi? Or I think that was a different. We went later with Chichiku and Tumi.
Okay.
And San, which was a whole different
Mensa's
dad. It was a whole different experience.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember. It's so beautiful.
But it's wonderful. I mean, Ghanaians and Nigerians have this sort of cousin relationship. And it's always been very positive in a very joshing kind of way. You know.
It's positive.
Yeah, man.
And it's sad now to see, what's happening in South Africa.
Yeah.
And how it's making Ghanaians, of course, the ignorant or the agenda-driven Ghanaians to start being anti-Nigerian as well as anti-African, basically.
Well, unfortunately, Ghana and Nigeria have the history of the Ghana go home thing, and then there was a thing prior when Ghana kicked out Nigerians, and then Nigerians kicked out Ghanaians, and now the South Africa thing's happening. Do you know, I can't remember who said it. Someone very recently, a prominent South African person who was very active during Nelson Mandela's time in prison as a political spokesperson, said that the first passport that she received wasn't a South African passport, it was a Nigerian passport. I wish I knew exactly who said this. It was someone very recently. I read it like yesterday. And, I think in South Africa, I mean, this division is absurd because...
I really feel like it's a design. It's by design. I feel like there's some invested powers that are looking for a way to fracture the solidarity
of Pan-Africanism.
The whole BRICS thing and the way South Africa is like being responsible about what's happening in Gaza and is taking the lead. I feel like there's certain elements at play that are trying to...
It's divide and conquer.
Yeah, it's divide and conquer. Trying to just disengage South Africa from the respect that it's gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think
to dilute the potency of what they are trying to do at the ICC.
It's very, very true. Yeah. They put a spanner in the works. I
feel that's what's going on. So I'm really hoping that our people, really sit up.
And again, one of the strongest things that could happen in Africa is Pan-Africanism. It is people coming together. It is definitely the breaking down of borders. When after Brexit now, we still have to do passport in the UK, but I've driven from London to Berlin before. I'm sure when you're touring in Europe, you've done the same, And as soon as you get to France, that's it, your passport is in your back pocket. You drive France, Belgium, Holland, Netherlands, into Germany.
All the way.
Not a single passport
Austria.
check. Yeah, Austria. Switzerland, no. But everywhere else, yes. And, the freedom in Europe now to be able to trade, move around, all these things is, so much more, it's so positive for the economies of the nations and everything. But we don't have that freedom in Africa.
It's by design because it's not gonna be profitable.
Of course. I was saying that when
the outside world. So I just said profitable to us as well, but to
the outside
to
world.
the people currently benefiting. It's not profitable for us to unite.
Yeah, it's absurd because when you drive from Accra to Lagos, we are divided by French-speaking countries. So there's that division there. But I mean, Togo and Benin, they're small countries. They're not very long to drive across. Yet it takes like 11 hours.
Right?
Because it's passport control.
Yeah.
And God forbid you have a virgin passport.
Right. They would suck your blood. And then sometimes, I remember Seme border, they can ask you to go through the quarantine section. The quarantine people will stop you and say, animal... They're checking if you have any animals and say, I don't have animals. They'll say, but you yourself, you're an animal. So
human livestock.
Right? And it's a reality. It's like a half joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, Charlie.
Now, let's go back to music a little bit before we end up. I mean, your solo career, plenty of work there. FOKN Bois, plenty of work there. Your production work with both Stevo Atambire and Lamisi, and you're directing work. Now, I know that you also have the Kubolor Foundation.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this, because I don't know much about this. This is something that's quite recent.
Yeah, it's quite recent. It's still it's still being designed. The structure of it, but I have realized like over time there's so much humanitarian work that we're just doing, you know, and I felt like I should set up a foundation where I can direct certain resources to to continue these works, so that it's not always just like out of pocket, you know. And yeah, I mentor musicians, produce stuff for them. I shoot when there are musicians that have a positive social message to do with the environment, to do with child abuse or whatever, like I produce the songs or shoot the videos for them for free.
Very cool.
So I feel like that needs some kind of structural support, you know. So that's why recently I've started like moving in that direction as well.
Very cool.
But it's basically just putting a structure to something I've been doing for about 2 decades now.
Anyway, yeah, but it's really cool, man. And I think that I've heard positive things about it, and I hope that gains more investment and as a vehicle, because you know, in West Africa, the creative industries are not seen as industries.
Do you remember the rusted instruments at music?
Oh. Yeah. The creative industries are not. You know, the infrastructure is not quite there.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of work to be done. You know?
Yeah, I mean, right now, as an industry, as like also, it's not like what is in, you know, Hungary or parts of France where there's like really government support and involvement in the music, or here. It's a lot of private and other NGOs being set up now to subsidize, you know, the creative spaces. Yeah. So it's looking up, you know, it's looking up, but it won't get that big boost or that big step if, as usual, taxpayer money is not involved.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I think people have to realize now that I was doing some research recently, and African music, if you look at the statistics site called Media that does all the stats, if you look at the genres of music globally, African music is the only one that's grown in the last 4 years. Like every other genre has gone down. African music is the only one that's grown. And I think in Nigeria now they've realized that it is over $2 billion that's brought to the economy. And, you know, Ghana, we are also there with, you know, the spark of creativity, and it can bring in revenue. You know?
It is bringing in, but it's not, you know, it's not.
Yeah. I mean,
harnessed to the fullest of its potential.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, recently Sarkodie played the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah, right.
Koji Radical, another British Ghanaian, filled the Royal Albert Hall. Yeah, you know.
Wow.
So people of Ghanaian descent are, you know, out there. They're doing it.
And
you know?
I mean, Shatta is coming.
Shatta Wale.
Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah.
Stonebwoy is coming to the UK, and
of course,
their stuff is definitely going to be sold out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
And the creative industries, they need to have these infrastructure around them. Musica needs to really kind of be sorted out. You know.
Let me take some water.
Yeah, let me take some water. Cool, man. So now, what have you guys got going on? What have you got going on for the rest of the summer? We are now, where are we? We are 2026 in June. So.
Yeah, this weekend I'm going in the studio with Mensa, see what non-crazy stuff we come up with.
Nice.
Then I'm going to Ghana to do some one or two things, criminal activities. Then we're on tour with Lamisi more off and on till September.
Cool.
We have a festival I've always wanted to go to, Roskilde.
Roskilde, I saw that on your schedule. Yeah, biggest festival around.
I've always been like, I want to go to Roskilde, so now and I'm loving this tour because I'm a band member.
You don't have the responsibility. You can just.
There's a manager. I'm just there. I have to just make sure that I've stoned my my strings. And I'm on stage and I remember my cues.
Yeah.
And I smile and perform, you know. I like that. And seeing new parts of the world. We're going to Gothenburg, Sweden as well.
Very cool. Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna see some places. Like recently, we were in Aberystwyth.
Aberystwyth in
Yeah,
Wales.
in Wales.
Yeah.
And Sewor and I, even with Lamisi, the first day we went to the nude sauna.
Cool.
So
Freedom.
Freedom is like, well, before you get there, there's a sign. Says no photography, no unsupervised children, no commenting on people's bodies, no pointing, no, like nice, solid rules which make sense, right?
Yeah.
You go in there, you take your clothes off, you shower, you go in the sauna. It's packed full of people on different tiers,
Levels, yeah.
heating in there, steam, and singing. People are
Nice.
just singing songs. Like somebody will start a song and people will join in, and everybody's naked.
Yeah.
Children, parents,
Yeah.
musicians. And it was really nice jumping in the river.
Nice.
And so we are looking forward to these unique experiences along the tour, like different kind of, you know.
Yeah.
And we're having a good time on the tour. Where for now we're chilling with friends in London. We're gonna do some studio works, you know. And but for releases, I have a project with a DJ called DJ Fui. We call the project.
Fui?
Yeah, Fui.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so we have the project, hip hop project called Casual Friday.
Nice.
It's really boom bap. He produced almost, I think, all the beats on the MPC Live too.
Yeah, cool.
And that's gonna come out this year. And then I have a project with a producer called Snow Beats. He's a guy behind a few other
I
artists.
saw one of the singles though that you had with him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Revolution,
Yes,
right? So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
gonna be on the project I have with him called Sister Derby's Brother.
I love it.
Because
Your sister is now famous.
yeah, she's super famous.
yeah,
So
yeah,
she's like famous,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everybody knows her. So I was quite famous till she got this famous, right? And now when people like, I'll be somewhere in town.
Oh,
And-
it's Sister Debbie's brother.
And no, but it doesn't even happen like that. Some people, oh my God, can we have a picture? And then like there'll be a groups of friends, right? So then they'll pull me in the middle and they're taking, one person is kind of looking at me like, okay,
Can
who's
you
this?
can you hold
No,
the
no.
camera?
No, it's like, no, that's like, who is this person that they want to take a picture with, right? And so by the time the picture is done, they'll be like, but who is that? They say, you don't know him? That's Sister Debbie's brother. So they're really excited to take the picture. So I'm like, okay, they know me and what.
Yeah.
And then they're just taking the picture because I'm my sister's brother. So we have this project, Sister Debbie's Brother, coming out with a really incredible song with J.W. Ambule.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And the reason, it's actually to me a miraculous song. And the reason I say that is in 1996 or late 95, I went into Adesadel village with Scooby Seller of SAR Squad and TH for Quadges. We went to King Sounds. He was the DJ, local DJ, mixer, spinner, to record a freestyle we wanted to do on some beats that we had a beat tape, right, or cassette. So the way we used to record is we'll put the tape in one player, and as it's playing, you hit record on another tape, right?
One microphone.
And put a mic close to the speaker in your mouth, because it's recording the beats into the mic and your vocals at the same time, right?
Love it.
But before he was setting that up, Ambule was playing on the radio.
Yeah.
And he was singing Onamdaze on Shempabwa, which translates into he's roaming around the place with no shoes on.
We had this conversation, last
And I'm
week.
listening to it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why is this person not wearing shoes? Like, it's such a strange song. Why do you sing about this person?
Yeah.
10 years later, I'm on the radio in Los Angeles, KPFK radio. Aphrodisia is the name of the program. And the host is Namdi Moweta from Nigeria. He's granted me this interview to talk about my single Kokonsan and my upcoming show at Project Blowed Chaos Network in Lemet Park, Los Angeles. Very famous area for jazz, Miles Davis, all it's like a very heavily music concentrated and pro-African, Pan-African space, Lemet Park. And Ambule is listening to the radio. And he lives in California at the time. So Ambule comes to my show. And I see him after the show. He's like, he really liked what I did. He's inviting me to his studio in Pasadena also to come and hang out. So over weeks, I started learning production from Ambule, instrumentation stuff. He was using Reason and stuff to produce. And we've done 2 songs together around that time. So now fast forward, that time I was still wearing shoes and stuff. till I left America. So fast forward now 10 years, now I don't wear shoes. And it's like, wow, I'm the guy Ambule was singing about, become that person. So we have to do a remix of that song.
Absolutely.
And the song Ambule really like went all out on the song. And it's going to be on Sister Debbie's brother project with Snow Beats.
I look forward, man.
And a couple of other things, but I mean, there's a lot going on. So,
Oh, I look forward. And with for our audience, Ambule is a legend of Ghanaian music. He is our senior uncle. And
excellent, the most excellent musician, performer, person,
saxophonist, everything. One of the originators of rap.
He was rapping in early 70s. Right?
Very cool, man. Oh, I think we've covered everything, man.
There's more, but
there's more. No, we can go for another 5 minutes. We can go.
Oh, no, I'm just saying there's more, but just as Charlie, nah, it's been really good. It's really good to catch up, and
I'm so glad we have. I'm sure we've missed loads of stuff as well.
Oh yeah.
There was something that there was something I was thinking about. It was another video. Anyway, we'll
the stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. Well, I look forward to hearing everything that comes out. I'm gonna have all the artwork coming up of the tracks. I'll have the Bandcamp link. Oh, that's what we can talk about very briefly.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, so now I noticed that you've taken all of your music off Spotify.
Yeah, so most of my music is off Spotify. Yes. What is still on there is stuff that I don't have the control over at the moment. For example, Blue Card is an album that I released through a partnership with Dito Ghana.
Okay, yeah.
Or Dito Africa. And so I had to sign a contract where they're distributing the song for about 2 years, the album. I think it's going to be up soon. Then I can take it off Spotify.
Right.
And the reason being, a few years ago when we found out, Spotify is paying 0.003 something cents per stream, we were already considering taking it off because we felt like, what's this? If we focus everything on our website, like FOKNBois.com, which is a FOKN Bois Bandcamp, Wanlov.com, which is a One Love Bandcamp.
Direct to consumer.
Yeah, and then we want to set up like a Trumu Records Bandcamp as well, where all the artists we're releasing under the label Trumu Records will be. And if we just tell people to only support that way, that's the best way to support. We'll drive a lot of more traffic there. But we hadn't really made that transition at the time till we found out that is a person Eckhart or something.
Daniel Eck, who has decided to start investing in AI arms company.
war stuff, and we're just like, you can't be cheating us and then using the money weapons to kill people. To have people killed or whatever. So we've taken everything we have control over. We've removed it from Spotify. They are on some of the social media apps. You can access some of the songs there, and also I think on other streaming platforms, but not there. And we've also regionally blocked our songs from a certain country.
Which country is that, if I may ask?
It's a country which is...
I think I know the one.
Yeah.
Is.
The country is.
Yes, I think I know the one. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have it and eat it and have it again. Yeah,
these are strong statements, and
Charlie, thanks.
It seems like the correct thing to do.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, so now we're seeing what's gonna happen in Ghana with with the illegal mine. There's a lot of flooding. There's a lot of
I was reading about this recently.
Homophobia. It's like the day after tomorrow, that apocalyptic film, like everything.
Movie.
There's floods going on. The hospitals are dilapidated. People are chasing queer people around. It's like it's the whole thing going on.
Craziness,
The roads are bad. So many accidents. And they're focusing on people's personal lives.
In their private homes.
Yeah, in their rooms.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's funny how the deflection always goes to stoke the fire, of something that really is, and as you say, wasn't even a thing 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing.
Yeah.
You know what? On that fine note, Charlie, thank you for coming down, man.
Thanks for having me, Sewor.
Yeah. I'm so glad we could do this.
Me too.
You know, and we now have the record. And,
Right?
Yeah.
Archived.
Yes, it's archived. You know, we have the conversation. It will be on YouTube forever.
Right? Forever.
Forever.
Even when the nuclear bombs go off, it'll still be there.
Cool, man. Thank you so much, man.
Charlie, thanks.
It's been fun. It's been fun. Nice.